Hello, I'm Aidan.
And I'm Josh. Welcome to Undead Ramblings, where we talk all things Call of Duty Zombies, amongst other games, movies, and other media.
This is episode 8 of our podcast, which we are recording on the 27th of March, 2025. Thank you to everyone who watched our previous episode, where we discussed our thoughts on the fan favourite, world-renowned Dries. If you haven't seen it already, please go check it out along with our previous episodes. A quick note to mention is that something I forgot to mention last time for Dries was that was the first map we had a new power-up introduced in the form of Carpenter. So there you go.
I was going to say, I totally forgot about it as well, so you're not alone. I mean, it hasn't been the most memorable power-up, has it?
Not the most useful, yeah.
It's not till about
yeah,
Black Ops 4, is it? Where it started repairing your shield and that it actually started to feel a bit more useful in the later games.
Yeah, it started to get its glow up.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, do you want to hit us with channel updates and any news, if any?
Yeah, so there isn't a whole lot again. I suppose that I should probably apologise again for the wait for the last episode, despite promising there wouldn't be one. But as you put in your comment, Aidan, we have had an absolute field day trying to get Sony Vegas to render this particular episode out. I was at it all weekend. It just would not. It just completely refused to render, and it was problem after problem. Once one thing was fixed, there'd be another issue. It's just been a total headache, so I just want to apologise for that being there. Like, as I said to you, there was one point where I was completely locked out of my computer. It was effectively bricked for 2 days because it wouldn't start up properly after one of the crashes, and I'm certainly not looking forward to editing the next long form episode we do, because I know we're gonna have to fight with it again. But like I say, I have made some changes to how I normally edit stuff, so hopefully it won't be as big of a problem in the future, but we shall see. And I am working towards getting a new rig to do editing and stuff with, so again, hopefully when we finally get around to getting that computer, it's not going to be that a big issue anymore. Hopefully, anyway. But that won't be
just a matter of time.
Yeah, that won't be for another 3 months or so. So we're going to be settled with it for now. But again, like I said in the comment that I posted, I'll be sure to let you guys know if it's going to be late again in the future. I do appreciate that I didn't mention anything about the previous episode till after it came out. But like I say, it was just totally swamped in problems that I needed to fix, so I just didn't have time. But yeah, again, I'll fix that for next time. And again, with the soundtrack, oh, go on.
I was just going to say, you even had, an error that, the computer didn't even know what it was.
Exactly, I might even, it's early in the episode, so you don't need to write it down, but I might even show it on screen. The absolute bane of my existence for the last, weekend and a bit. You can't see me, but I'm pushing my fingers into my eyes just thinking about it. It's you gotta love technology, but I was just gonna say
it does suck.
It absolutely does. Yeah, I was just gonna say the soundtrack. I will be getting it out once this is out. I know I promised last time, but obviously you can't foresee some of the problems you're gonna have with editing software, so. It's put a big, wrench in everything, so hopefully it'll be after this one, but I don't want to make any promises again, just in case, but I'm going to try. I'm going to make a conscious effort.
It'll come when it comes.
It will, yeah. God. Words. A little sleep deprived, I'll be honest, but we'll roll with it. So... in Zombies news, we've got a new name for the new map, which, as you've put here, it will be out by now, or should be. It's April 2nd, I believe, was what you said?
So this episode drops on April the 3rd, so it will come out. It would have come out already by the time this episode drops, but so I hope you guys are all enjoying it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we need a bit more of a, something to lift your spirits a bit after the Tomb being a bit of a controversial map. So here's hoping it's a good one. And we'll...
Yeah, absolutely. I mean...
Oh, go on.
Oh, sorry, you first.
I was just going to say we'll probably be covering it. Well, it is the planned next episode after this one, isn't it? So, so we'll be working on that if you want to hear our opinions and stuff on it. And what was it you're going to say?
I was just say, like, obviously being as the map, by the time this episode goes live, the map will already be out, so there's no point in us talking about any kind of further news on it, on what rumours are around. Like, for us, like, like, as of recording on the 27th, we've got, like, some rumours, but there's no point in talking about it now because the map will already be out. But, as Josh said, we're gonna be recording the next episode a week after the map drops, so it gives us some time to get comfortable with the map and maybe do some Easter eggs on it. So
yeah,
keep an eye out on that. Any kind of expectations for the new map? I know this comes out the day after it drops, but I still think we could at least talk about any expectations for it.
Yeah, so not particularly. I'm kind of have a feeling just because of the location that it's going to be Liberty Falls Light. But all we know for sure so far, at least, is that we're not going to have amalgams, which is more than enough for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, no, I honestly, after the Tomb, I'll be just happy for it to be on par with the previous maps. I don't really have any, like, particularly high expectations for it. What about you?
I mean, I've been on record and saying that my predictions are, like, the Wonder Waff is going to be the main Wonder Weapon. I think we're going to see the Disciple. So anyone who's already played it by the time this goes live, like, let us know if I was right. I think I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the Manglers coming back, being as it is this close to Liberty Falls.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
We'll see.
Aye.
Hopefully my main man Blanchard is coming back as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. It would be thematically appropriate. I have no doubt we'll see, what's his name again? The villain guy
Panos.
from Liberty Falls. Yeah, that's the one. I have no doubt we'll probably see him. I doubt he got very far. Like I said, like most people joked about when the map first came out. I imagine that the second he walked out that door, he got blasted by a Mangler, and he's probably dead.
Yeah.
Or at least he should be. There's no way he just walked out of there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I refuse to believe it.
Yeah, I know you mentioned this, I think last episode, maybe the episode before, but it feels so disjointed, like the storytelling. Like, Liberty Falls definitely feels like it's a bit out there. Like, all the kind of story beats that have been set up in it aren't really being addressed until, like, 3 maps later.
Yeah, that's true. It feels like a bit of an afterthought in that way. It's kind of like...
it almost feels like...
Oh, go on.
I was just to say, like, it almost feels like how the Chaos story is told in Black Ops 4, like, Dead of the Night releasing, like, mid-season, like, even though that was a prequel. True.
I suppose in fairness with that one, they had their reasons, given that they couldn't get the cast or whatever. This is something like that. They couldn't get the actors. Yeah. Still, though, like you said, it definitely does make the story feel a bit disjointed, because you've got Dead of the Night explaining all the story beats, but it's like we've already done all this in Voyage, so it felt a bit off. But anyway, again, getting ahead of ourselves. I believe that's it, though, really, isn't it, for zombies news?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll move on to topics then.
Well, actually, just before we do that, one little tidbit I've noticed with Black Ops 6 recently. I don't know if it's going to end when Season 3 starts, but that Cranked event is still available. I don't know if that's...
the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle one?
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to persist until the end of the season or not, or whether they've decided to make it a proper mode, I don't know. But
is the whole event still on?
Not the whole event, no, just Cranked.
Right.
I believe it's the St. Patrick's Day event at the minute. I need to finish, actually. I've got like one more thing to get on it. That's my job for today.
I haven't played Black Ops. I haven't played Black Ops 6 since you and I did the team directed mode.
To be fair, we went through hell for that, so I can't say I blame you.
I just don't find Black Ops 6 as a whole interesting right now, but
yeah,
that's by the by.
No, I totally get you. Like I say, like we've said outside of the podcast, just looking at the view counts and that, there's a lot more interest seemingly in the older maps than there are the newer ones. I don't know if that's just a theme that we're running into at the minute, or whether there's genuine disinterest in the newer maps. I'm not sure.
I think it goes back to that whole replayability discussion you and I were having a few episodes back.
Oh, yeah.
And alongside that, like the controversies around Black Ops 6 with the whole AI stuff. So I think people are wanting kind of like to kind of look back at the roots and like have those nostalgia glasses on.
Yeah, absolutely. Treyarch as well, apparently, given that we got the Ice Staff back and all that Origins music and all that.
Absolutely.
Alright, well, if you wanted to... Alright, go on.
Yeah. I know exactly where you're going to go with that. Yeah, I'll jump into the topics of this episode. So, this episode we're doing something a little different now. So, now that we've wrapped up World at War, Josh and I are going to have a little bit of fun, and we're going to use one of those tier list rankers to... where we would put each of the World at War maps.
Good old
this is something that we're going to do at the end. Yeah, exactly. This is something that we're going to do at the end of each of the games, so the ranking will get updated as we cover Black Ops 1, 2, not World at War, we're already doing this one, Infinite Warfare, like all of the... as we go along, we'll update it at the end of each game, so this will be kind of like a long kind of form thing that we're going to be doing. The other thing, just to kind of give a bit more content this episode, just like we did way back in the pilot episode, as a bit of a teaser for what's coming up, Josh and I are going to go over one thing that we liked and one thing that we disliked about each of the Black Ops 1 maps. So just before we kind of dive into doing some long form videos on Black Ops 1.
Yeah, sounds good.
That's what we're going to be doing this episode.
Right.
So... if we go, I'm hoping Josh will kind of do his like technical magic and
magic.
have the tier list kind of fading in at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll rank the World of War maps.
All right, so we're also going to be covering the Black Ops 1 ports, which this tier list has included, as you've pointed out to me, since I didn't notice it the first time.
Yep.
So as you can see here at the bottom, we have all the maps, and we got the Black Ops 1 maps over here. So yeah, like Eden said, we're going to be revisiting this at the end of every game that we cover, and we'll add each respective map as we go through it. And yeah, should be pretty fun. I'm wondering where they're all going to end up. You're doing your own, aren't you? Independently, like on your own computer.
Well, I was going to say, like, we'll probably give our own personal rankings, but what you'll see on screen is where Josh and I have compromised with each other, and where, as a combined ranking, we find a happy medium. So
yeah, absolutely.
I've just got mine on a separate screen that you guys can't see. Just otherwise, I would forget where they go.
Well, like I say, if you want me to put it on screen, I can put it on screen at the end. I'll put it up in the corner or something, and we can.
Sure.
If you just want to see the differences.
Yeah, that might be a good idea. Right, let's kick off with Nacht and Toten. So, where would you personally rank Nacht and Toten? Both starting with the original World at War version.
See, Nacht a dangerous one because this is nostalgia incarnate. I could put every World at War map in S. I truly could. But we're gonna have to play this fair because given that this list is covering every map, I'm gonna have to put it in. You know, realizing that it's going to be up against other maps when we get to them. So, where would I rate Nacht overall out of every game?
Personally.
Well, I cannot give it an S overall. I don't think. I think. Ooh, this is a difficult one. Because I do love it. Like I say, if you've watched our episode on it, we kind of gushed about it, didn't we, for for a couple of hours?
Yeah.
Oh god, it's such a difficult one to place there. I think I may give it to... I think it's definitely around the A to C area. I'm going to give it to B. That's where I would put it.
Okay.
I feel like
that's fair.
It's very, you know... It is a great map, but when you take it out of the context of it being World at War and it being on its own, it's very hard to rank it too high up. You know what I mean? In comparison to all the other maps that we got later
absolutely.
On. But yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I think similar to you, like I'm thinking objectively here of like where it stands against the wider roster of maps that we've got now.
Yeah.
And while it is an absolutely timeless classic, I think considering how bare bones it is and like what it does compare to in later, even in the same game, what it compares to, I don't think I could really personally give it anything higher than a C. Which is where I put it on my one. That's not to say it's bad, because it's not. It's not bad at all. But just because it doesn't... The offering on it is very slim pickings compared to everything that's come after it.
Yeah,
absolutely. So I can't really, in good conscience, give it anything higher than a C, personally.
Like I say, I could be hinging on nostalgia. But like I say,
it's on.
Oh, go on.
It's on the cusp of going into B on my list, but I think just because of everything that does come after it, it is a C for me.
Absolutely, I can totally understand that. I'm just debating. Am I willing to compromise? I think like. Yes. Okay. I'll do it. I'll bring it down to C. It hurts. It does hurt, but I'll do it. Do you want to?
I was willing to kind of.
Oh, go on.
I was just gonna say, like, I was willing to compromise up and put it into the B tier, like for our combined rankings. So if you want to keep it in B, I'm happy to have it there.
I can totally understand your reasoning for putting it in C. So I just put it in B because it was very it's slap bang in the middle, pretty much.
Yeah, that's fair. That's exactly why I'd be happy to kind of compromise with you and bring it into the B tier.
God, it's like an episode of The Apprentice. Right. So what are we going to settle on then? I'm happy to put it in C, but if you want to put it in B, I'll happily move it back up.
Let's settle on B.
Settle on B. Okay.
Though, yeah, I think that's a fair comparison.
All right. Do you want to take point on Varrock then?
I was just gonna say, like, do you want to just do the Black Ops 1?
I was considering this actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because I don't think there's much to talk about it. I mean, my personal ranking for the Black Ops 1 Nacht and Toten is actually D. Just because
the visual quirks, I'd imagine.
Yeah, exactly. It's the visual quirks for me.
I do find that a difficult sell because, despite the visual quirks, the gameplay improvements are exponential. Like the zombie collision, the thunder gun, Monkey Bombs, I believe. Mule Kick, even. I don't know if I could rate it lower.
True.
If I was to pick Nectar and Totem generally, I would pick Black Ops. Shit, look, just for playability's sake.
That's fair. You do make a hard sell on that. All right. Well, I'll kind of go with as a on the compromise. I'll go with whatever you rank it as.
Are you sure? I don't want to feel like I'm hijacking this tier list.
I won't go anything higher than the B.
Right.
And even then, that's a very kind of hard B.
I could have pushed an A purely on the gameplay improvements, but if it's out of the question, I'll push the B. Alright, so for Varrock then, are you wanting to take point on this one, or do you want me to go again?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I personally ranked Varrock as a B.
Alright, yeah.
No. Oh shit, I actually haven't put it in. Sorry.
It's all good, you can just do it now if you want. I'll take over if you want for now while you decide where you want to put it.
Oh no, sorry. I'm being dim here. I put both the Black Ops 1 and the World at War version in B.
Right. Okay, I see.
I think I think they both just play very similarly, which is really kind of what the ports are. But I think Varrock definitely improved on everything Nacht and Totem kind of started with.
Yeah.
The audio is great. I think the only thing that kind of brings it down, certainly Black Ops 1, is the visual side of it. But I think again,
and you've got to
it's
remember
a very
as
kind
well,
of in the middle kind of.
Sorry to interject. I was just going to say you've got to remember as well. This is the first map to have songs that cut out. In the Black Ops 1
Oh, in the Black Ops.
As well,
yeah, absolutely. But I think Varrock is great, and it certainly sets up everything that does come out afterwards. With the perks, the songs, the box moving, all of that power. But I think again with everything that comes out after it, I think it sits very comfortably in the middle in B tier for me.
Alright, yeah, no, I could totally see an argument for that. For me, personally, this is going to be a hard sell, like I said when we got to that episode, I really like Varrock. I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And the World at War version with the super sprinters and those animations that we talked about, oh my god, it's such a difficult one to place. I want to give it an A. But I'm willing to compromise, and I will bring it down to B. Okay. Absolutely.
But personally, you'd rank it A?
I would rank it A, personally. Like I say, I'll probably show one that I've done after the fact. Because I haven't done one in advance, because I felt like it would clutter all the tabs and all that, so I thought I'll just come back to it after we've done this, and I'll put it on after the fact. So have you already ranked the Black Ops 1 version as well?
Yeah, I put the Black Ops 1 in B as well. Just because it doesn't really, there's not really, other than the kind of collision maybe, there's no real kind of change outside of the guns.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I totally agree. I'd absolutely comfortably put that in B as well. I was going to say, it's certainly no better or no worse really than the original. It's just, like you say, more of the same. There is some nice additions, like the Black Ops 1 version having the radio, which is always a pretty cool addition. Actually having, I think one of the big improvements that this map adds that we didn't get is Black Ops 1 has added the quick revive solo mechanic now, so it's a lot more viable on solo in Black Ops 1 than it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to mention, I should have probably kind of made note of that when we were talking about the ports that, obviously...
Yeah, I totally forgot.
Improved by the Black Ops 1 quick revive change, but
absolutely.
I was going to mention that more when we spoke about Kino.
Yeah, totally fair. Alright, so do you want me to take points in Nima then?
Sure, go for it.
Honestly, I could put every map in this game in B. I could also put them all in there. If I let nostalgia run wild, it would be S+ for every World at War map. or S at the very least. No, in fact, actually, an A. It would probably be an A. The more I think about it.
Yeah.
Shinonuma specifically. Like I say, I don't quite have the adoration for it that you do, but I do appreciate that it's a great map, and for the time it came out especially, it was really quite impressive with the inclusion of the Wonder Dwarf, the Hellhounds, all that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm not sure where I'd put it. I feel like it would be fair to put it in B. But like I say, I could tell you now, if I get my way, Derby's is going to be an A at least. So I'm comfortably going to put it in. I'll give it its due. I'm going to put it in B, and that's for the World at War version.
Okay.
What about you?
Okay. I mean, obviously, it's my favourite map in World at War, so I've got a bit more nostalgia and bias towards it than you do. But I put it in A.
Yeah. I mean, I could be negotiated up.
A couple of reasons.
I could be negotiated.
Here's my reasoning for it.
All right.
First and foremost, we got the introduction of our cast in Ultimus.
Yeah.
So that's a huge kind of bonus for me. I really like the visuals in World at War. It feels so gritty, and I love the lighting in that game. It makes it feel a lot more spooky.
Yeah. 2D maggots.
I like the yeah. I like the zombie models in that as well.
Yeah.
I like the huts. The only thing that really brings I love the song.
Yeah.
The only thing that brings Shinonuma down for me in any form is the random perks.
Oh yeah, for sure. One of the biggest what's the word? Long-term pain points that zombies ever introduced is random perks and random Pack-a-Punch.
Absolutely. So yeah, I really, and like kind of on a meta level, I really like the trailers for the trailer for the Shinonuma. That scene of Richtofen where the nuke is going off behind him is just chef's kiss.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I always remember the bit with Nikolai with the flogger.
Oh yeah. And then it's also just like little things like the radios and like the meteorite. I really think like it's a very nuanced map with lots of like little hidden gems in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, World at War Shinonuma is an A.
Yeah, I think you might have sold me on it. Absolutely, yeah. There is a lot of I didn't really think so much about the additional features in that. I believe there's a few new weapons in there as well, isn't there?
Yeah, and like you also got like the introduction of achievements as well. For it. So, I mean, like I can see on a very face value like that it could be B, and I think I initially did have it on B.
Yeah.
So I would compromise on it going into the B tier, but personally, like I like it on the A tier.
I think retrospectively looking back on it, if I try and think of it and how much it offers in gameplay terms compared to Verrucht and Nacht, for as much as I love them, they're definitely a bit more barren. So I think I'm going to go with you and move that up to A. You definitely get a lot more content out of Shinonuma than you do with the previous maps, as much as I do love them. But atmosphere, doesn't make up for gameplay so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Alright, so where would you put the Black Ops 1 version then?
I put it in C tier. The visuals, I hate the visuals and the lighting in the C tier version. And
you know what?
I don't know about you, but like, I got like, I think I mentioned it on our Shinonuma episode, but like when you look at the foliage, you can actually see the pixels and like there's little white lines of where the squares.
Like the
in some cases,
like the alpha texture thing where it's transparent background. Yeah.  'Cause, transparent background. Yeah.
And it really, like, I think it just feels like Shino Numa from Wish. Like, if I wanted to play Shino Numa, normally I would just go for the World of War version. Like the Black Ops 1 version does have the selling point of the changes to quick revive and the movement, but I just prefer the World of War version.
No, that's totally fair. I totally agree. Yeah, I think I'd probably put it in.
What about you?
Just mulling it over for a second. I don't know if I'd go as low as C. I could maybe do B.
I'd compromise on a B.
I'm just trying to think if those little alterations bother me that much. Because, like, until you mentioned it, I'd totally forgotten about the transparency thing you mentioned. Though I do remember one horrible section that may have just knocked it back down to a C, which is in the comm room area where there's those bushes that are just have a black background, and it's just a solid wall. Yeah, I think visually Shino Numa is probably the one that suffers the most in Black Ops 1. So yeah, I'll put it in C. I could totally agree with that.
Okay. Cool.
Alright. Durries then.
Last but not least.
Well,
F tier.
Yeah, S plus. It's not even up for debate. I said it as a joke, but to be honest, I could put it in S plus. I really could. It's such an iconic map. I do love it. But again, against everything we've had now, in more recent years especially, it's such a hard sell to put it up in the top. It would be purely a nostalgia pick to go up there. I think, considering a lot of the stuff it has, it lends from Shino Numa, apart from the teleporters and the pack-up. Oh, Pack-a-Punch is such a... Okay, I think I'm going to go with S. I think that's where I'll put it. It's just ever so slight. Again, like I said in the Shino Numa episode, if Shino Numa had Pack-a-Punch, I'd be all over it. And I do enjoy the Vanguard version for that very same reason, because it's the same map but with Pack-a-Punch.
Yeah.
And that makes it so much more replayable, in my opinion, because, you know, I get that thematically it doesn't make sense to have it, but to be honest, nor do many maps that have it nowadays. So I'd love to have seen its inclusion. At least in Chronicles, I think they should have added it. But obviously we're not covering Chronicles in this tier list. But we'll get there eventually.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously, like, just kind of briefly touching on that, like, Chronicles does have, like, the Gobblegums, and, like, the Pack-a-Punch Gobblegums on Shino Numa does make all the world a difference.
It does, yeah. I totally agree with that. I'm perfectly alright with admitting this is a me issue, but you know me and hoarding Gobblegums. I hate using them. I despise using them unless we're doing an Easter egg run or something, because I'm always like, there's going to be that rainy day when we're going to need them again for something.
Yeah.
But there never
absolutely
is. That day doesn't exist. But I refuse to spend them anyway. What can I say? I'm a hoarder.
Yeah.
At least it's self-professed.
No, that's totally fair. That's totally fair. Yeah, no, I put Deriz, like World of War Deriz, on the same as you, on an S tier. I think even now it's still really fun to play, and I think there's still, like, even with what's come from it, like I said in our previous episode, if you look at each map, you'll probably see something that, like, Deriz has done, and I think, or has its origins in Deriz, and I think it's just a really solid map. I think it's the best map in World at War, even though it's not my favourite map in World at War. I still think it's the best map, if that makes sense. So I'm right there with you, and like Pack-a-Punch, the Fly Trap, the kind of ambient storytelling it does, like I'm right there with you in that it is an S tier, so I think for our combined ranking it should go there as well.
Alright, yeah, I totally agree with that. There is one drawback to Deriza, and that is the Wonderwolf bug. And it is a pretty significant drawback. It would... there is a part of me that would move it to A, based purely on that. Because it's such a debilitating bug that really does affect every time you play the World at War version of the map.
That's true.
It's such a tough sell because of that, and we haven't got to it just yet, but the Black Ops 1 version, I would have maybe put it higher just because of the fact it doesn't have it. And the collision improvements as well.
Well, the Black Ops 1, in my opinion, the Black Ops 1 version looks worse.
Yeah, and the song cuts out as well, which also sucks. But what can you do?
True.
I mean, I'd be happy to keep it S if you want.
To be honest with you, I think you could still play Deriz without the Wonderwolf, so I think
true. Like,
I'm comfortable with it being at an S tier. Like, I don't know about you, but like S plus for me is my absolute favorite map, or maps.
Yeah,
I think like that S plus needs to be like stored for the best of the best.
It's like the holy grail.
Just like F. Exactly. Just like F tier is like the worst of the worst. Like this is, I wouldn't even like let my dog shit play with this. But I think like S tier is like a really solid like experience, and I think even despite the bugs that, I say bugs, the Wonderwolf issue, like
the design decision,
it's still, yeah, I think it's still pretty solid.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. So yeah, you want to keep it in S then?
Yeah, let's keep it in S.
All right, sounds good to me. All right, do you want to do the Black Ops 1 version then?
Sure, I mean, just the visual look on it alone, I think the Black Ops 1 engine, for some reason, has really aged poorly, in my opinion, across the board, and so it brings it down a tier for me into A tier. Still really solid, and obviously the improvements to the Wonderwolf and Quick Revive kind of boost it up a bit, but the visuals, being as you kind of, this is my chef background here, you eat with your eyes first.
Yeah.
And so if something doesn't look good, that kind of mars the experience overall for me.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I do definitely like I believe we covered it in, was it the Shinonima episode or something? Where we talked about like how the remasters basically succumb to the old rule of remasters where just boost the contrast, make everything darker, and that makes it look new. And I would totally agree that that's a big problem with Deriz. Like, every area that's normally covered in shadow is just pitch black in the Black Ops 1 version. And it does kind of detract from it a little bit. It doesn't bother me that much, but like I said, the gameplay improvements do kind of outweigh it for me. But I would be able to put it in A. I could definitely knock it down for the visuals and the song. The song one specifically hurts, for sure.
Yeah.
The fact that the song is just cut out, and that's that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, no, I would happily compromise and put it in there, for sure. If I could find it again, there it is. Alright, so there we go. That's all we're going to be able to do for now.
So do you want to just go over them real quick?
Yeah, sure. So, do you want to take point on this?
Well, I can't see your screen, so
yeah, of course.
you're gonna have to do it.
Right. So we've got Deriz in S tier, the highest one so far. We have Shinonuma, the World at War version, in A, and Deriz, Black Ops 1. For B, we have like both versions of Nacht and Toten and Verrucht. And in C we have Shinonima, the Black Ops 1 version.
Nice.
For all the visual concessions, as we said. See, like I said, this is why I probably should have shared the screen, but it's all good. It's good.
It's okay. It's all good. I'm happy with that.
Alright, sounds good to me. Yeah, I'm happy with that as well.
Cool. Cool. Well, let's move on to our little game of like and dislike for the Black Ops 1 maps.
Alright, absolutely.
So, I'm going to go over the rules once again that we had in place last time. So, first, only one atmosphere pick, if any. Second rule, only one soundtrack pick, if any. Third rule is only one like and dislike veto. And the fourth rule is one honourable mention per map, if any. And once again, just like with the tier list, these are our own opinions, so it doesn't reflect our views on the map as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we did with the previous season with World at War, we're going to flesh these maps out properly at a later date, where we actually do a proper in-depth look at it. So these are basically just
absolutely
first impressions almost, I guess.
It's just a little teaser.
Aye, yeah.
Just a little taste.
Aye.
And a mood boost, if you will.
Alright, so I see you started us off with Kino, so I'll let you fight away on that.
Yep. No worries. Kino, straight off the bat, gets my soundtrack pick. 115 is an absolutely stellar song. I would argue that 115 is the most iconic song in all of Zombies.
Yeah, 100%.
Maybe Damned might be a contender, but I still think 115 is like everyone and their mother knows 115.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely kicked off the soundtrack aspect for Zombies, didn't it?
I remember being dead chuffed about finding 115 on my own.
Yeah. You gotta love the meteorites and the weird sounds that they made.
Absolutely. So yeah, not much else to say on that. My dislike is, I say it's a dislike. I mean, I still think Kino's a really solid map. But it's just, for all intents and purposes, it's just Deriz 2.0.
Yeah,
it plays
absolutely.
pretty much the same. Considering that, like, Kino was meant to be like the fourth DLC for
yeah.
I don't know how that would have worked, but yeah.
I think it's interesting because someone did on World at War on PC. They created a modded version of Kino on World at War.
Cool.
It was pretty fun, honestly. I think the way it worked out was probably for the best, because obviously the zombie collision and that in World at War was a bit of an issue. So I'm glad we got it in Black Ops 1 instead, I've got to say. I think it plays better for it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, I wouldn't say that it being Deriz 2.0 is a drawback at all, to be honest. There couldn't be a better launch map.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that kind of segues perfectly into you going into your likes and dislikes.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I've put here is that it basically is the perfect introductory map, you know? I feel like in recent years, apart from maybe Liberty Falls more recently, a lot of that's been lost, and all the maps have kind of been very complicated for new players. But Kino de Toten is just zombies distilled, pretty much. Deriz, but, you know, accessible for everybody. And I think that's probably the best way to start off any season, really. I feel like each season should start off easy-ish and get gradually harder and harder as it goes. And this was the perfect start to it, because it probably is the easiest map, isn't it? Real. Maybe aside from Ascension. Ascension might be edging it out a bit in terms of difficulty, being a bit easier.
What, just for Black Ops 1?
Yeah, and Black Ops 1. So other than that, I included as my honorable mention 115 as well, because it's just such a good pick. I've got nothing, like you say, I've got nothing else to say on it. It's just such a masterfully done song, and it fits the map so well. It's definitely, for me, the best song in Black Ops 1, if not... I don't know if I'd say overall now, but it's definitely up there, for sure. Top 5.
Yeah, for real.
100%. For dislike...
I think...
go on. Oh.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I think at some point you and I need to do a... once we're done with all of the Treyarch maps, at least, we need to do a tier list for the songs.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'd be happy to do that. For dislikes,
carry on with your dislikes.
I picked the Nova Crawlers. I just find them to be, as I put here, just generally quite tedious. They feel more like just extra work to put down, and I don't feel like the changes they make to gameplay kind of warrant their existence, if you know what I mean. Like I've put here as well. I hate enemies that visually impair you because I don't think I've ever once died in zombies because I couldn't see. It's just more obnoxious.
Yeah.
And it's just a bit annoying, you know what I mean? It's like being flashbanged constantly in multiplayer. It just doesn't make for a very fun experience, constantly having your vision impaired back to back like every 2 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just every time I hear about being flashbanged constantly, I'm just reminded of that one viral clip about that guy being spawn die, flashbang, getting skull fucked by some guy called Requise.
Oh my god! You have to send me after that.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. I'm hoping that people know what I'm talking about. It just cracks me up. I can see where you're coming from with the Nova Crawlers, and I think unlike 5, you can't really avoid them, can you?
Yeah, exactly. They often clutter up all the hallways and stuff, so trying to get through, you just end up getting blinded constantly, and yeah, I just found them more obnoxious, to be honest. I know a lot of people have issues with having to aim down to shoot at them, but that never really bothered me too much. But the visual aspects certainly did. I was never too keen on, again, having your vision ruined for a couple seconds, because it was just, like I said, just obnoxious.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
But I will give him credit with that. I do love the way they enter the map. I thought that was really cool and unique.
Oh yeah.
The way they come down from the ceiling. Yeah, I always thought that was really neat. All right. So, do you want to go on to 5?
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Take it away.
All right. So, what I've put is I really like the characters for 5 and the premise of it. I think the whole thing is just so goofy and over the top, and something you would have only seen in Black 1. The idea of I guess technically 3 presidents holding up in the Pentagon with a bunch of zombies running around. It's just nonsense.
Yeah,
but I love it all
absolutely.
the same. And that is honorable mention for the intro cinematic. I don't think the it's just a Storm Dick sit down will never not be quotable.
Yeah, absolutely. I love how over the top the characters are. They're so kind of heightened. It's almost like Nixon's very much how he appears in Futurama. It's how he is. Yeah,
they're just eternally quotable. I'm trying to remember the one that always used to make me laugh on the with JFK. Is it back in the game, kids, or something when you revive him?
Something like that,
yeah.
I always the one that made me audibly laugh was when you get a nuke and JFK goes, and that's how you push the button.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was just they just had it was just such a wild map, and it was so at odds with Kino. You know what I mean? Kino was obviously it's Ultimus, so the characters were very goofy still, but I feel like 5 took the cake, just in the setting, the theme. You know what I mean? It just felt like a joke map, but I kind of loved it for that. For dislikes,
it's almost it was a very good second on this map.
Yeah, absolutely. For dislikes, it's probably the Winter's Howl, and that's only because I don't think it's a weapon befitting of the map it's in. It doesn't feel like it's a weapon that makes sense for a map like 5 that's very claustrophobic.
Yeah.
And also it's basically for anyone who's played the Tomb, it's basically Origins. It's the Ice Staff Light, but only the primary fire. that you initially get instead of the secondary fire. So you just basically slow them down, which is no good when you're running around, narrow catwalks, office hallways, and cubicles, and the laboratory. Especially, I was debating putting the portals or the teleporters as my dislike, considering there's no way to tell where you're going to end up. But I ended up choosing the Winter's Howl instead because I felt like it was a bit more offensive for the map it's in.
Yeah, I suppose with like the teleporters is that like 9 times out of 10 you're not really going to be using them if you're going for like high rounds. You're usually just going to be running around the central area.
Oh yeah.
And you're more likely to be kind of using the Winter's Howl more than you are like the teleporters, really.
True. I mean, I will say this: it's really useful against the Pentagon Thief. I'll give him that. I'll give it that rather. It's a solid choice against him. I'm sure it knocks him out in like 1 hit, 2 hits, something like that.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's not too many.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about the like covering 5 in depth.
Yeah, for sure. It's a very weird map. I did have a bit of trouble deciding my likes and dislikes for this one because it's one of those maps I don't have any really strong feelings about. It's just kind of there, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, you can take it away if you want.
Yeah, sure. Not long really to go on, but like I really like the same with like what I mentioned with Deriz earlier. Is the ambient storytelling of the map.
Oh yeah.
And I love the like when you go into the labs area, you can see like prototype like wonder weapons that have been half built.
Oh yeah.
Like the ray gun or there's like the thunder gun up on a shelf. There's a Winter's Howl that's in the process of being built.
Alright.
I think there's like a teleporter frame as well, like in one of the windows.
Yeah,
so like
I do remember
I
that.
love the kind of whole kind of storytelling there that like this is kit that the Americans have taken from Group 935 and are trying to reverse engineer.
Yeah.
And like that's what I really like about 5.
Absolutely. Is that not in the terminal? I'm pretty sure it is. The mention of the Americans taking the stuff from Deriz and all the research.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty sure it was.
My dislike for 5, I think it's really an overall kind of a problem with the Zelensky era maps is that like all of the walkways and doors, particularly 5's the most guilty of this. Like all the walkways and doors are only like 1 man wide.
Yeah,
and so I find like most of my downs of 5 have been because I've been trying to get through a gap and another zombie is like filling the area and I can't get past them because my fat ass is too wide to slip by.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
I do recognise that was fixed during the Blundell era of zombies, and you notice it really when you play classified. Like all of the walkways are at least 2 man wide, and you can kind of duck and dodge between zombies. But 5 is just—it's not fun to play on. Like if you're playing on multiplayer, and you're the guy who gets stuck up on the walkways in the central area, it's not a fun time.
It really isn't. Like the war room, the lower floor specifically, is like the only really viable place to camp or train in 5. The rest of the areas are death traps if you get stuck. And obviously this is before the days of field upgrades, as Ether Shroud and all that, so getting stuck was a death sentence. Unless you had like the Winter's Howl or something.
Yeah, no get out jail freeze.
I totally agree with that. It's definitely, like you say, next to Shangri-La, which we'll get to. Definitely one of the most claustrophobic maps we've got on Black Ops. 100%.
Yeah. Moving on to Ascension. So I've used my veto on this, and my veto is on disliking the monkeys. The reason being is that they're obvious picks and nobody likes the monkeys on Ascension.
I can agree with that.
So my like for Ascension is there's a lot of accessible training areas or camping areas in the map. I'm thinking like most of the Lunar Lander, the one near Stamina and the one near PHT.
Oh yeah.
Are very easy to train around. You got around the bottom of the rocket. You got even the area next, like on the rampway leading down to the bottom of the rocket, is quite easy to kind of train around. So I think I really like that. If you're playing with multiple people, everyone can have an area that they train around. Even the spawn area, you can kind of make work.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I used to play on Chronicles. Was under the like around the spawn lander with the thunder gun. It's definitely a good spot. It got me to like round 100 or something like that.
Oh, nice.
I definitely recommend it if you've got alchemical. It's a good pick for that one.
Yeah. My dislike is a really stupid one, but I hate Richtofen's stupid spacesuit. Like, why on earth? I know they fixed it in Chronicles, but why on earth is he wearing something completely different in Ascension?
But it's not Richtofen, remember? It's good.
Oh, get out! Get out! Don't give me that bold man. Like, he's Gersh. No, he isn't. Get out.
Yeah, it was just I guess a poor and artistic interpretation of Richtofen.
Yeah, and it's more the fact that I just couldn't really think of anything else I dislike about Ascension. It's my favourite Black Ops 1 map, so
yeah, I could totally see why. Just going back to your point on the training or camping areas, I was going to say it's kind of like the antithesis of 5, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
It takes everything that 5 did with the claustrophobic maps and just says, you know what, we're just going to blow it open and give you all these huge spaces to run around. It really is a great map. I totally agree with them.
Yeah, it's like it's elbow room the map.
Yeah, pretty much. Also, honourable shout out before we get it. I'm not gonna call it a mention, just an honourable shout out. But the bloodied up skins for the other characters in Ascension. I always thought that was a cool detail.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That they kind of gave the characters a bit of beat up.
Yeah, they've got they're a bit more bloody. They've got scratches on them, which is strange because they completely vanish for the remaining maps, don't they? It's not present in Shangri-La or. I remember that causing a lot of controversy over whether or not the order of the maps and whether or not Ascension was technically last because of them all being bloodied up and stuff. But I believe it was just an oversight because I believe you told me. Shangri-La wasn't made by the typical team that makes. They made the previous maps. And
yeah.
So it was probably
it's like the kind of
a total.
team.
Yeah, so it was probably like a total oversight. And they were just like, you know what? These are the zombies characters. Just put them in.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah.
All right. Do you want to go over yours?
Aye, for sure. So I've put interesting spin on the formula by giving you multiple navigation options, which I believe is the first map to do so. So you've got the... I like how free-flowing the lunar landers are, where you, especially in multiplayer, where you can call them to any destination from any destination. Again, it's a privilege only afforded to playing it on multiplayer. On single player, they basically function like the teleporters in Dori's, don't they? Where it's like you only go to this middle and that's it. But in multiplayer, they give you a lot of range on where you can go and how you can approach it. They even use it for one of the Easter egg steps, don't they? Like, you have to spell out a word by going from one destination to another. And I always thought that was a really cool selling point for the map. And they also added the Gersh device, which can be used, again, for anyone who's only played the new ones. Basically the Casimir device, where you just throw it on the ground and you can jump through it. And it acts as a teleporter that basically drops you anywhere. Which was the first time we saw anything like that, wasn't it? Back in 2011.
Yeah, it almost gave the map a sense of like verticality. Like you've got so much like ways to kind of move around the map.
Yeah,
which is really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. For my dislike, I put the final step for the main quest of the Easter egg, because I've always had bother with this one. You haven't done it, have you? This Easter egg?
No, I've never done the Ascension Easter egg.
Well, I'll warn you about that. The Black Ops 1 version is a total nightmare. Like, it's so finicky where you have to shoot. You've seen it though, haven't you? The final step where you have to throw a Gersh down on the...
Yeah, you have to kind of like put a shit ton of damage into the like this light.
Yeah, but it's very, very specific where you have to shoot. I don't think you shoot into the portal, you have to shoot at the base of the Gersh, but it was always so finicky, and I remember doing it with friends back in the day, and it would never work. It would always fail, and we'd have to go get a max ammo, try again. It would fail, get a max ammo, try again. Someone would screw it up by throwing matryoshkas and it'd bounce off somewhere, so that wouldn't count. Yeah, it was the only time. Literally, I had to really dig to find anything in Ascension I didn't like, and that was the only thing I could think of.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to bring Easter egg stuff into it because it's not going to be something that every player is going to encounter. But it was genuinely, I have no problems with Ascension. Like, at all, apart from the monkeys. But I can't pick them, obviously.
Yeah.
So...
honestly, like, if the monkeys weren't a feature, I would have easily put, like, Ascension as an S+ map for me.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I guess the only thing maybe I didn't like was the lack of double tap. But it's double tap 1, so even then it's not really that big a deal that it's not there.
And they fix that in Chronicles.
Yeah, they do with Wonder Fizz. So that's always nice. Alright, so have you got anything else to add to that, or do you want to move on to Call of the Dead?
Nope, let's go, let's move on.
Alright, so I used my veto on this one for George, rest in peace. Because much like with the monkeys, he was a total pain to deal with while playing the map.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
I was going to go into how he functioned, but we'll cover that when we get to Call of the Dead.
Yeah, of course.
Right, so for my likes, I picked the atmosphere. Like, as I've written here, I just find the atmosphere is so creepy in Call of the Dead, and it's something that the map excels at and does really well. It does have its issues, but it can be a bit, grey up on grey up on grey. But I think it suits the setting and where the map is, and like both versions of Call of the Dead. Like, I know we're not getting to that yet, but even Tag to Tote's rendition, I don't know what it is about this map, but they just nail the atmosphere every time, but in different ways. There's something about Call of the Dead that just, like I say, from like Cold Wind Blows, the background music that plays in the map, it just sells this really eerie experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
I find some of George's quotes especially can be a bit unnerving. There's some of them that I don't think he used too much that can be a bit they sound a bit creepy when you're just walking around the map. No, I think that's something that they do really well with this map. For dislikes, it's not a problem that I've really ran into too much, but a lot of people do complain that it's almost impossible to get to high rounds because of the lack of traps. There is virtually no traps. In fact, I don't think there is any in Call of the Dead whatsoever. And I know that's been a big pain point for a lot of high rounders. Isn't it one of the maps that have like the lowest round accomplishment rate because of the lack of traps? I'm sure.
And combined with George, and I think I think that's kind of like, because the problem with George is that I know you vetoed him, but like he really makes any kind of camping strategy kind of moot. Because you almost have to kind of keep moving between points, but he'll still kind of crop up and ruin your day. And then combine that with the lack of traps, and let's be honest here, Black Ops 1 is not great when it comes to like ammo, and like I find weapons fall off really quickly on Black Ops 1.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, absolutely. And like you were going to say, the ammo count as well. You barely get any ammo in Black Ops 1. It's very punishing in that sense. I think even World at War has more ammo than Black Ops 1 does.
And even the Wonder weapons don't have like insta-kill capabilities, do they?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can get rid of George temporarily, but he always comes back like about 2 rounds later. So
yeah.
he's just a pain to deal with, and again, I know we're trying not to go into George too much here, but but yeah, that would be my dislike anyway. The what do you call it? The lack of traps. It's like I say, it's not something I dealt with too much, but I know it's a big sticking point for a lot of players. What about you?
Totally fair. Well, my like is I really like that there are 2 versions of the Easter egg. I know they function more or less the same, and they kind of have more or less the same beats. But I really liked that you can do you can do it solo, but then there are extra bits that you can do if you do play with other people.
Yeah.
So I wish they did that more, especially with other maps that only have are restricted to 4 players. I wish they had a solo version of it.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
Which is, I'm really glad that they did that for Moon in Chronicles. So I wish they could have done that more, though. So I appreciated it more so in this.
Yeah.
And my dislike is nice and simple. It's the color palette.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been hearing me kind of talk about this all episode, but I think the color palette and the visuals in Black Ops 1 just have not aged great.
Yeah.
And when you've got just different levels of grey and white in one level, combined with Black Ops 1's kind of washed out look anyway, I think Call of the Dead really suffers from it, which is why when Tag rolled around I was really happy to see is that colour?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And you could argue about the fog as well. Also makes it kind of less visually appealing as well. So this is too much of it.
Yeah.
What were you going to say? Sorry.
I was going to say I never really had an issue with the fog, but it does kind of play a factor when you kind of just got nothing else to look at. It was more like a case of I'm not really kind of seeing anything interesting in the map anyway. A bit of fog's not really making much difference.
Yeah, that's totally fair. No, I totally agree with that. I think
anything else you got to add for Call of the Dead?
No, I don't think so. Just trying to run it over in my head, but I don't think there's anything else I would have put.
No worries. Well, I'll move on to Shang then.
Alright, go for it.
So, I really like the special enemies in Shang.
Yeah.
That's where my like is going, particularly the napalm zombie.
Oh, yeah.
What an enemy! Just him slowly walking up to you, and then out of nowhere he could blow up in your face. But,
yeah.
And I really like the Shriek as well. I know you mentioned earlier about not liking enemies that can blind you, and
yeah,
it is annoying when the Shrieker does kind of get a hit off of you, but if you can use him right, you can actually kind of cause him to blow up the heads of other zombies.
Oh yeah.
So I think they were just a nice different enemy to have than what we've had in previous maps. They weren't boss enemies, but they weren't pest enemies either. They were I would say these are the earliest form of heavy enemies we've had, really.
Yeah, pretty much. They're, like you say, they basically fill the roles of manglers and stuff like that in more modern entries.
Absolutely.
Oh, go on.
I was going to say, I was going to move on to my dislike. Is the mud room. I don't like any areas in games that slow me down, and the mud room is guilty of this.
I already know what your Black Ops 2 veto is for Origin.
Now. Maybe not. I hadn't really thought about that, but my issue is with the mud room is that I've played a fair few multiplayer matches where some person's run through and gone on the right platforms and all of that.
Oh, yeah.
And here's me coming in like while it's resetting, and I'm just having to trudge through it at a snail's pace. So
oh, yeah. And you always have to, like, dolphin dive across half of it so you cover most of it without having to walk through it.
Yeah, and exactly. And God forbid, like, a shrieker or something's chasing it after me at full sprint.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. Other than that, I do have an honourable mention for this, is the trailer for the map. In the jungle trailer. I love this trailer so much. It makes me laugh every time I watch it.
Yeah, I still think I remember it. Is that where it's like showing the monkeys sitting on the walls? The zombie monkeys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Class.
I just think like you couldn't have had a better song to fit for it.
You really couldn't. They definitely banged out the park by picking that one. No, absolutely classic. What were you going to say?
Take it away with your likes and dislikes.
Alright, so while it's not something that I've done personally, I always loved the idea that you could do the Easter egg for this multiple times. I think that is such a cool feature, and I wish we'd had something like it since. But now that the norm is for everyone to get Burkaholic upon the first completion, it's not really necessary anymore. But I would have, like, maybe they could do it with a wonder weapon or something, like everyone gets one. The more times you do it or something like that. I just think that's such a cool concept that hasn't been utilized more. It really takes the whole, time travel aspect of the storyline that they're telling at that point and really runs with it. And I don't know, I just, like I say, I think that's something they could have really cashed in on by making that a thing in future maps. I understand that not everyone, in fact most people probably aren't going to do Shangri-La's Easter egg more than once per match. But in fairness, once you have the wonder weapon and all that, it's pretty easy to do again, generally. There are a few exceptions, like the napalm zombie, try to get him to spawn in so you can light those flames or the gas pipes again and that sort of thing. But I don't know, I just think that was such a really neat idea. I would have loved to have seen them do something like that again.
I suppose it would be very dependent on the map, because obviously you couldn't really do Moon a second time, could you?
Yeah, true. And that's what I'm saying, like, I think thematically it fits into that map so well. So if we ended up with another map that had sort of like time travel implications, we could maybe cover it, but I understand they don't want to get into that because they Black Ops 3 kind of made the whole thing into a bit of a mess. So I can kind of understand why they did, why they maybe don't want to mess with that again.
It's like that Lord of the Rings meme, like you've had one breakfast, yes. What about second breakfast? It'll be like, you've blown up one moon, yes. What about second moon?
True. I mean, I guess they do kind of touch on it, the idea again a bit in Mob of the Dead with the plane and all that. We have to do that multiple times.
And that's exactly the kind of map that I think it would work on, but honestly it does depend on which one you do play.
Yeah, I would love to see it in a map that's more, I guess, from a casual perspective, a bit more palatable, that you'd want to do it multiple times. I think the reason you don't in Shangri-La is because it's a pretty difficult map, and you probably won't last too long after doing the Easter egg, generally, so it's pointless being able to do it more than once. But I would love to have seen it in like a map like Der Eisendrache or something, where it's like really short, really easy to do, absolutely. But you can do it more than once. It would maybe add replay value if they didn't have time to flesh out a proper quest, you know what I mean? But yeah.
Can you imagine though, like replaying something like GK or Origins?
Oh lord.
Twice?
I don't think I'd ever do Origins more than once per match. I mean, at least you wouldn't have to get the fists and that back again, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. What about your dislike?
Is like this could also apply to Moon in a lot of ways, but the arbitrary inclusion of the 4-player requirement. This map does not need 4 players to do this Easter egg. It is so unnecessary. It could be done with 2 minimum, or as I've put in the document here, you could do it with 1, as modders have shown. It could, with a few tweaks to the game's code, this could easily be done in single player, or like as you said in your Call of the Dead pick, one of the best aspects of it was having a solo option and a co-op option. And that should have been a running theme for the rest of the maps, but for some reason they decided, no, back to 4 players only. I really thought that Call of the Dead was a bit of a wake-up call for them, that maybe 4-player Easter eggs weren't the best idea. But no, they instead doubled back for like another entire game with a Black Ops 2, where a lot of the maps were...
Yeah.
Until Jason, the God-made man, finally came back. Finally came in and said, you know what, we're putting a stop to that nonsense and we're going to make it doable in solo and with any amount of players. And thank God for that.
Sans Shadows of Evil, right?
Yeah, other than Shadows of Evil. I'm still angry about that, by the way. Again, I might get back to that when we get to Black Ops 3. I might bring up the same point again. About how modders have proven that it can be done without 4 people. And it's not necessary.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, just to kind of touch a bit more on this, like... the reason, like, the 4-player requirement is the reason I've never actually done it more than once myself. I still haven't done the Black Ops 3 version of Shang because of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's genuinely wild because obviously in the Black Ops 1 version of Shang, you're coming off the back of Call of the Dead, which had a solo option.
Yeah. And
then in the Chronicles version of Shang, you had Moon, which had a solo option available, like, made for it. So
exactly,
it staggers me that, like, you can't do Shang, like, on your own.
It just annoys me because, like I said, if they basically all they have to do is make, if you're playing 2-player, I understand that solo doesn't work as easily because you've got steps like the snap step where you've got the 2 tiles that both players need to stand on. You could still make it work solo, as modders have shown, by making it stay down when you stand on it, and then you go find the other one. So it's still doable with a few changes, but yeah, it's just, like you said, so many of these things could have been fixed in Chronicles and made it doable. But like I said, just small changes like having the switches for the Eclipse be already pushed in. That's all they needed to do. If you're on 2-player, have 2 of them already pushed in. Done.
And they did it with the Pack-a-Punch.
Exactly. It just feels so unnecessary. But like, didn't you say that Shangri-La was kind of made under a bit of a time crunch? In fairness. Yeah,
and also, like, it was made by a kind of B team, so to speak.
Yeah. I just wish they could have, like, fixed it after the fact, because I mean we got Resurrection and that, which added a bunch of new maps, so I kind of wish they'd fixed it with once the season was finished or changed it or something. Like I say, I'm willing to let it slide for Black Ops 1, but I think Chronicles at the very least should have addressed it. Along with Ascension.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ascension isn't as bad, because there are a few moments in there that maybe, like I say, like having to shoot the Wonder Weapon all the Wonder Weapons at that portal at the end that we were talking about earlier. That probably needs an extra set of hands to pull off. But then again, Mule Kick exists.
Well, I mean, exactly, and like you can always just like for lower players, they can always just adjust the amount of damage you need to pump into the thing. I mean, again, the reason it's 4-player, or the fact that it's 4-player, is like the reason I've never done any of the Ascension Easter eggs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is absolutely like a black mark on my zombies career, really.
Yeah, no, like I say, I don't fault you at all. Shout out for anybody if anyone wants to help us get it on Xbox. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. We are looking for. We would like to kind of have other people join us if you want to help us out with some Easter eggs. So please, drop a comment if that's something you're interested in. Josh and I are both on Xbox, so that's the preferred platform.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, just going back to what we were talking about. No, I totally agree. It feels a bit unnecessary, that the player limit. I kind of wish it wasn't a thing for so long. Like I say, you shouldn't have to buy the game on PC and download mods to be able to do it. I don't really think that's fair. I might actually do it on if we don't get any chance to do it before we get around to Black Ops videos. I might end up recording another bit of it on solo on PC and just do it with mods, so we at least have footage for it. Because it's not something I can do casually either.
Go for it.
I believe you can do it with Die Rise and Transit as well, with some mods. I think. I'd have to verify that because nobody wants to go through the hassle, which is totally fair. You know.
Yeah, that's fair. Right, we're waffling on a bit. Let's move on to Moon.
All right. I'm taking point from this one. Bear with me. I was just looking at my phone.
Yeah.
All right. So, for me, I put the gameplay alterations that really set the illusion that you're on the moon. Like I believe it's something that's sadly lost in Chronicles. It's one of the really big drawbacks of that version for me. But in the Black Ops 1 version, when you shot zombies and stuff, they would react as if you were actually in space with, Gibbs flying off in slow motion, grenades would float, you would float. And it really, I don't know, just the feel of it was so unique. You know what I mean? There's still nothing like it in zombies.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose. We kind of have, like, the Horizon kind of plays with low gravity again, and Revelations in some areas. But generally,
not to this effectiveness.
Yeah, I just feel like those, like, those kinds of mechanics, like the PES and all that, like, just really helped sell the illusion that you're actually playing on the moon, which is just such a crazy thing for zombies at the time. And I think the idea that they switched out Paris for the moon was probably the best thing they could have done. I much prefer Moon than the idea of Paris. Myself personally, I think it's a much grander scale for the final map for Black Ops 1, because this map finally has a proper ending, doesn't it? Unlike the previous ones.
Yeah.
An honourable mention as well for the feeling of the megalophobia that you get, or at least I do. I don't know if anyone else feels like existential dread when the excavator starts approaching, and the sheer scale of them. You know what I mean? Or just looking from the receiving bay over to the, just the mountains, if you want to call it that, the craters on the moon. It's just, I just find it really creepy. You know what I mean? Like the ravine and all that, and especially that soundbite in Chronicles we found recently on Black Ops 3.
Oh, yeah.
It just really sells the idea that you're in deep space and everything just feels, you feel so small compared to everything else that's going on, you know what I mean? In the way that the other maps don't quite capture, in my opinion anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, for dislikes, going back to the excavators, generally I do find them to be pretty obnoxious for regular gameplay. They work for the Easter egg, but as I put here, like, there's certain areas, like training spots, like I remember one of them is where Stamina Up is. That's really fast if you don't let it get decompressed, but because of the way that the audio's muffled and all that, it can be very hard to know when one's making its way to you, and it's very easy to have an area be decompressed because of that. Like, a personal preference for me is I like to listen to YouTube or music or something while I'm playing, and unless you're on PlayStation 4 or 5 and you have the controller speaker on where it'll play the soundbite of the excavator being called out, like if you're playing on Xbox, like I often do, you don't have any idea that it's coming most of the time when you listen to music. And it really sucks that you have to keep switching your attention between, is the excavator coming, is it not coming? Otherwise, you have to just play it somewhere else, and or go into a zero-G area to make sure that you don't get affected by it. And I'm sure plenty of people have gone through a door and immediately been downed because they didn't know it was there. I'm sure that's happened to plenty of people.
Had that. I was literally just about to ask you, like, have you ever had that?
Yeah, I do remember it once specifically in an Easter egg. I don't remember if it was one we did. It might have been the first batch of recordings we did for the podcast, where I'm sure I ran into one because I didn't hear it. But it's too easy done, and yeah, I think the map would probably be better without them decompressing constantly. But I do like the way it adds to the map and the whole, kind of going back to my likes about the atmosphere and that it does sell the illusion that, oh, you need to be a bit more careful with this map because, you actually got to worry about the atmosphere and where you are and decompressing windows with grenades and stuff like that. Yeah, I really like Maine, to put it bluntly. I really had to scramble for a dislike.
It's a pretty good map.
I know it's not everyone's favourite. I know it's a bit controversial these days. Like, there's specifically the dislike you've added. I know it's a big sore spot for people, but I'll let you get on with what you were gonna say.
Well, I mean, I'll start with my dislike now that he mentioned it. It's the astronaut.
Yeah.
I find the astronaut incredibly annoying, and I've had multiple times where I've lost, like, Jug, or it's even worse on solo if you lose quick revive, because you only get a finite amount of them. So
Absolutely,
if you take your quick revive, you might as well just reset the game anyway.
Yeah. Can we just talk for a minute?
I mean,
how bad the Black Ops 1 implementation is specifically. In Black Ops 3, he always spawns at the receiving bay. In Black Ops 1, he could spawn anywhere. And he often, during the step in the main quest where you have to fill the jars, he would often spawn right behind the pyramid and grab you immediately. It was total nonsense. Ugh.
Yeah.
I had that happen once and lost Jug, and it killed my run, and I was furious. Furious about it.
I mean, like, he does have, like, a couple of funny glitches, like when he kind of just stands in place and dances.
Or better yet, when he starts flying towards you with the Gersh device.
I was gonna say, like, although that's, like, really funny, it can be a bit of a problem if you're kind of not wanting him to grab you and he's, like, moonwalking towards you.
Yeah.
The Gersh down.
I'd like to think it's a deliberate conscious decision. Moonwalking.
And I just wish there was, like, a way to kind of, I don't know, I wish it gets to a point where it shows up every single round.
Yeah.
And I just wish, like, perhaps, I mean, you don't even need him for any of the Easter eggs. So I wish he would just show up every 5 rounds. Would be more preferable, but. Yeah, and he is a bit of a bullet sponge, so I'm not a fan of the astronaut.
No, that's totally fair. And to be honest, even when he does spawn in the receiving bay on Black Ops 3, he can still be a death trap because you still walk into him in the doorways anyway, so it seems like either way you implement him, he's problematic. I love the idea of him.
He's marginally better on...
But I don't think he's executed
He is marginally better on...
Sorry, go on.
Absolutely, yeah. I was just saying, like, he is marginally better on Black Ops 3 because he's got, like, the radio chatter that if you are, like, listening out, you can kind of catch him. But on Black Ops 1, he's just breathing. And so if you're not really paying that much attention, and you walk through a door and he's there, like, you might as well just say, like, kiss goodbye to your perks and that's it. Yeah, I mean, I've had it where he's grabbed hold of me, knocked me out, taken my quick revive, and where he spawned me in, I basically, like, pushed back and I walked into an excavator that was in the process of, like, digging up a place. So it's just so he's really, really sour in my mind.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. I would say, though, the one counter to him is that when you get the Perkaholic at the end of the main quest, he's basically a joke because he can't take anything off of you anymore. So it's funny to just let him grab you and know that he can't do anything.
Yeah, I know, but the fact that he had to go through the whole Easter egg just to counter him is just...
No, I'm not saying it's a good counter. I'm just saying that there is a way to deal with him.
Yeah, absolutely. As for my likes, I've actually gone for the second half of the Easter egg.
Now,
the reason I say this, like, this is, like, from after you've opened up the pyramid and revealed some answers, so it's the bit after that, really. And there are two kind of standout points. I'm weird. I really like the Simon Says in Moon.
Honestly,
I know a lot
so
of people don't.
I'm right there with you.
it might just be a bit of Stockholm syndrome because I was always the one who had to do it back in the day.
Yeah.
None of my other friends wanted to do it, so it's just like, oh, okay, Aiden's doing it. And like, there's two like standout points. I really like when you have to fill up all of the jars. It really kind of, and like Samantha shouting at you, it really kind of showed like building of tension. And like epicness, and then obviously blowing up the Earth is like it's still like a core memory in my mind.
Absolutely,
like seeing those rockets firing off,
and that sinister laugh,
and it, yeah, exactly. Like it might like I always believe like Moon is the kind of point of this is what a final map should always be.
Yeah, absolutely.
It feels like it didn't have the kind of budget restrictions that other maps have.
Yeah, for sure.
Like final DLC maps, I mean.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And to like make the mood even better, they also gave you the World at War maps as well. This is where we got the remasters, wasn't it? It was with Moon, so sweetened the deal even further.
And absolutely, and you also got they also gave you the soundtrack as well.
Yeah, true.
Like all of the Easter egg songs up to that point. And it wasn't just the Easter egg songs, it was Dead Ops arcade songs as well.
Oh yeah, you're right, yeah. Speaking of which, we never talked about Dead Ops, so we're going to cover that in Black Ops 1, or you want to leave that?
I suppose. I think we could probably leave that after we do the...
do all the mainline stuff first,
Yeah, exactly, because
right.
I've never actually completed Dead Ops 1.
No,
so I've not got a lot to say about it.
Yeah, same here. I don't think I could. It's one of those modes that's just too difficult for me after a certain point. I'm just like, I can't do it. It's too much.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other things you got to mention?
No, I think that's it, really. Trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, we don't need to do our likes and dislikes on the Black Ops 1 parts, because we've pretty much already done that, so...
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I mean, hopefully the... because we're not doing the Black Ops 1 ports, when we cover Kino and other Black Ops 1 maps, the episodes might be a little bit shorter.
Yeah. One thing I was just going to quickly say is, since I'll probably be using gameplay footage for this tier list bit that we're doing here, or the maps like and dislike thing, I'll see if I can find footage of you doing Simon Says, because I'm pretty sure you'll be the one doing it. I feel like I have to put that in there.
Okay. Right, okay. No worries. Well, I hope you've all enjoyed listening to our little rankings and likes and dislikes.
Aye.
And yeah, just a bit of fun this episode, just to kind of break it up from our usual overviews of maps.
Yeah.
Next episode though, we're hoping to, being as it's as of the release of, or as of when this episode goes live, it should already be out. So next episode, we're going to be covering the Shattered Veil. So we're hoping to have that out the week after the map drops, depending on if Tech plays ball or not. So keep an eye out on that.
I love technology.
Yeah. Obviously, just keep an eye on the community posts on YouTube. We'll keep you updated as and when we can, especially if things are going to be late. That's something you do actually enjoy listening to our rambling. So we'll keep you up to date as we go. And then the episode after that, we're actually going to take a little break from zombies and possibly discuss a bit about Dark Souls, being as Josh is playing through it for the first time, aren't you, buddy?
And absolutely suffering. I'll be straight with you before we do dive into it. I'm not good at it. I'll be straight up about that. I know some people get very elitist, let's say, about Dark Souls. So I'm going to warn you in advance that I am total shit. So this is going to be more first impressions sort of video rather than a.
He's being modest. He's doing fine. He's doing fine. Like I'm playing alongside him, and he's doing fine. As of recording this, he's currently just gotten to An Orlando, so
with a lot of help,
discussing his kind of thoughts up to this point. Yeah,
there's definitely a bit of the C word.
You're selling
going
yourself
on here.
short there.
Carrying.
Huh?
So there's definitely a lot of the C word going on here. Carrying.
But
we'll
you're
get
selling yourself short.
Huh? Say again. For once,
did you say?
Steam is playing up. I was saying carrying. That's all I was saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying you're selling yourself far too short there. You're doing fine.
I'll take your word.
Anyway. I should probably start doing this at the beginning of the episode, like thinking about this, but please do the usual YouTube pleasantry, guys. So like, share, and subscribe, and I'll leave it to Josh for the final comments.
Alright, well, again, there's nothing really specific to cover here that we haven't gone over already, so just make sure to check out the Discord, the link in the description. All the other stuff will be in there, like topics we talked about. If there's anything that was... Don't really think there's anything we needed a link for in this episode. I don't think we talked about anything specific. But I'll tell you what I will include. I'll include the link to the tier list if people want to do their own. Just for a bit of fun.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good idea.
You can make sure to let us know on Discord or something with what you would have put instead with the Black Ops 1 and World at War versions of those maps. Again, soundtrack will hopefully be coming out after this episode. Assuming technology plays ball. Again, I don't want to make any promises because every time I have so far, it's turned to shit. So I'm going to target it, but no promises. Absolutely no promises.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's it pretty much. So I guess we'll see you in the next one. As Aiden said, we'll be covering the new map in about 2 weeks' time, something like that. And yeah, so thanks for watching. See ya.
Bye!